Robert Schumann. So, Schumann was another Germanic composer. He desperately wanted to be a virtuoso pianist. This did not happen due to a finger injury, and there's a few hypotheses as to how this finger injury occurred. Some scholars say it was lead poisoning, others say it was syphilis, which was all the rage at the time. Others say it was due to a finger-strengthening contraption of Schumann's own creation that he used on his finger, and then damaged his finger permanently. Now, he married his piano teacher's daughter, Clara, who was a piano virtuoso in her own right and who we'll talk about in a couple of minutes. Schumann was best known for his piano character pieces, although like all the other composers of the era, he wrote symphonies and he wrote chamber music, but the output that he's known for are his solo piano pieces. He and Clara were mentors to the younger composer Johannes Brahms, who we'll talk about in the next module, and this relationship becomes extremely important. Unfortunately, Schumann suffered from severe mental illness and tried to commit suicide by throwing himself in the Rhine River. After that, he was committed and died a few years thereafter. And the piece we're going to listen to by Schumann is the Carnival. This is a set of 21 character pieces meant to represent the masked celebrants at Carnival before Lent. And these characters are based on the Commedia dell'arte characters of Italian stories. And so we see, the clown, and a few other, the Pantaloni, Colombina, a few other characters here. And to take note of these, because these characters are going to come back next week when we talk about Arnold Schoenberg and his piece Pierre Lunaire. And the piece we're going to listen to is Papillon, which translates to butterfly. And I'll let you listen to this on your own and consider how it may or may not sound like a bunch of butterflies. Now, his wife Clara Schumann, née Wieck, she was also a German pianist and composer. She was a virtuoso pianist and toured extensively throughout Europe. She was one of the first pianists ever, male, female, or whatever, to perform by memory. Before that, pianists have been playing with sheet music, and now she's not improvising, but memorizing the music and playing it without any aid. She had a 61-year career as a performing musician. She also had 7 kids, so this is very, very impressive. And in her time, she was arguably more successful than her husband. And she not only performed her husband's works and Brahms's works, but her own pieces as she was touring. And I have a piece by her over here that I'll let you listen to on your own time. Now, the relationship between Brahms and the Schumanns was a little interesting. It was a kind of love triangle. What happened? Well, Clara and Robert took a young Brahms, into their home after hearing his music and mentored him. 5 months after Brahms had met the Schumanns, Robert Schumann attempted suicide by trying to throw himself in the Rhine. At this point, a young Brahms helped to support Clara, who was pregnant with her 7th child and still an active touring musician. As Johannes and Clara spent more time together, their feelings deepened. Brahms wrote to her friend, "I believe that I do not have more concern for and admiration for her than I love her and find love in her. I often have to restrain myself forcibly from just quietly putting my arms around her. I don't know, it seems to me so natural that she could not misunderstand." And as for Clara, who is much older than Brahms, Clara confided to her diary, "There is the most complete accord between us. It is not his youth that attracts me. No, perhaps my flattered vanity. No, it is the fresh mind, the gloriously gifted nature, the noble heart that I love in him." Now, what happened? Nothing. Their love would remain unrequited. Brahms would never marry in his life, and Clara would never remarry, even after Robert's death 2 years after his attempted suicide. And even though Clara and Brahms did stay in touch, Clara eventually burned all of their letters.